when I first started, so for the first year, because my CV is 3 pages long and I've got loads of telesales jobs, I was on the phones doing, if anyone spoke to the chatbot for the first 2 years I was with the company, that was me. I just typed like a robot. And basically, like, my whole thing was like people getting in touch. And obviously, a lot of the kids now, like, they know this shit a lot more than it's just my mate said. They are doing the research, so they're getting in touch saying, I'm at this EC, it's Sagittarius rising, it's third day of flower, still fucking, do you get what I mean? Like, wait, and then I'd kick that back and it's sort of like we'd have a discussion about how I can best advise this customer. And ultimately it comes back to like, read your plan. How's that look? And they'd send me pictures and it's banging, bro. It's 10-10. It's fucking, there we go. What is your problem in it? And I think that is the thing. Like I always say, everyone had the best crops of their lives 10 years ago before no one knew about testing EC. Do you get what I mean? When everyone was just literally whacking it in, hoping for the best, getting a bit of runoff, make sure your pH is nice, and everyone was loving it. And now everyone seems to be having problems. Not everyone, obviously, people have got their things dialed in, but the amount of people where I speak to, we had a blazing row with a shop the other day, like you say, Northerners, we're quite argumentative in our discussions. And I was arguing that he's had, obviously, like when I've been on the allotments and stuff like that, I've never had an EC problem. I've said to him, you've probably had more EC problems than me. No, I've only ever had 4 EC problems. I've never had one. I've never tested it. Do you know what I mean? I've probably had it. It's been undiagnosed, but the plants have always looked nice, so I've never had to.
I will admit, about 3 years in, I gave up pH and I gave up fucking EC. I gave up it became just purely eyeball. And like I said, if worst comes to it, it's like, I'm going to drop you into a 3-feed flush. Like for the next 3 feeds, I'm going to flush you because it's organic. Let it clean out. Let the plant, you maybe get a bit of fade, watch your edges go, and you're like, all right, no, she's starved now. I'll rebuild you up. Start again.
Because that's the thing as well, where you say, like, you're starting low anyway. So I've always, when people's, again, I'm the world's shitty salesman, I've always used AB roots, swap out the roots for boosting flower, crack on, whack the PK in when you need. And it's when people say, oh, you've got the full range. And I've had shops say to me sort of like, oh, I don't put people onto yours because I want them on the full range. And why? Less is more with it. Literally, go for what you need and then do a couple runs with A and B and whack your PK in at the end. After that, try put the boost in. If you can, try put it all the way through veg. Notice how you don't get any stress in flower. Shit like that, like build it up as slow and as gradual as you need. It don't need to be sort of, oh yeah, the whole shebang. Like I say, you can just overcomplicate it. It's mad.
Yeah, I suppose to clarify or to add a caveat really to what I was saying before about other people, maybe take some advice. If people are willing to show you pictures of their crops, and you can see their thing and it correlates to what they're saying. Because like you said, yeah, everybody is the best grower. Everybody's the best breeder. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of ego sort of in this space. And yeah, so obviously, I mean, there's a huge part in just sort of the cannabis space, but how does that sort of work in hydroponics? Is it a similar sort of thing where you went up and go, no, my method, my product, my shop? Is that still a thing?
Crazy. I think it's probably bigger than I've ever seen. Obviously, Tesco used to have it with, oh, that should have been that price. But in this case, so even with the feed charts, as we were just saying there, so if me and you look at a feed chart and it says 1 to 2 mil, so I'll show that to a shop, and me and the shop, they both know that means 1 mil. You'll show that to a customer, they look at it and go, oh, 2 mil, nice. I'll put 4 in and get double. And yeah, you're just going to store your shit. But obviously, they know better. They're big eye, I'm going to do this. And then, obviously, I've made a few notes here, literally just on ego, because it is a massive thing. I've always said we need to do welcome mats, saying leave your ego at the door, because it's even more so now where people are doing research. Back in the day, people didn't want to Google shit. They'd come in and like ask you for the best pH to be in cocoa because they're never Googling that sort of stuff. Now it's like they'll spend 10 weeks Googling it. They'll come in, finally, they've plucked up the courage to ask you a question. Then once you've answered the question, it's, I've been doing this 16 years, mate. I know what I'm doing. You just work in a shop, and they get offended at like your audacity to have tried advising them. But then I always say, it's like Fergie, the greatest manager that ever lived, ran the greatest team for so long, despite what everyone may think now. But you've never seen him on a pitch. Do you get what I mean? I'm not into football. I don't know if he was a good player. But that's the thing, like these people that have ran a shop for the past 20 years, that have been advising people left, right and centre, I do say that a massive thing, again, on the ego is old shops where they're like old heads in the industry. They've been here from day, and my way is the only way. If you go in and talk to them about crop steering, they look at, oh, that fad, it's been and it's gone, it'll come at. People are getting the best yields of their life on it. Just because you get really good results with DWC because you've done it for the past 18 years doesn't mean it's for everyone. Do you get? So I think ego plays a big part into it that way. But then it's sort of like ultimately they do know what they're talking about. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, it's the agriculture shit that got us out of the caves and all that. We can talk about mushrooms and that. But it was farming that got us into civilization. So ultimately, there's nothing new under the sun. So, like you say, take from people, listen to people. If you've got a question and this guy is ready to answer it to you, it might be the dumbest thing ever. I had a customer that came in one time. I don't know if he's still going or whatever, but he's arguing for ages that he's having heat stress. So he wants to buy this product for heat stress. And I've told him, let's look at your room, let's talk about this, but it could be something else. Sell me that product, bro. So I sold it him. He's come back a couple of days later. He's bought another product, and I'm like, buy a fan, put your fan in. He's bought a fan. He's still getting heat stress. In the end, notepad and pen, said, right, let's draw your room. He's got all his plants here. He's got his lights here. He's got his outtake there, and his intake there. And I'm like, there we go. But you've not come in, like, there's too much ego there. He's not wanted to come in and actually say, like, look, mate, let's fucking. And he's just, I've seen this product. My mate said it'll be this, bam, bam. And ultimately, you've made a microwave. You just, all your air's up top of your light. You're cooking your shit. And I do think a big thing is, like, say, just leave your ego at the door at both sides of the counter. I think shops, I think what's good with, like, a lot of the new shops coming in and a lot of the old shops are willing to, but, like, they're adaptive. They're listening to the community. Obviously, there's community and industry. So the shops there where they're actively on Instagram and stuff like that. Obviously, it's always been an iffy one. Ultimately, you can't control what your followers do and who follows you. And my thing grows in Germany and stuff like that, but you're seeing what they're running and you're seeing what the market is going to go with. So now everyone wants Floraflex piping in. If you can get Floraflex piping in, mint, everyone's rooms will look sick, but Nutriculture piping is just as good. Nutriculture's gone now, but you can still get the fixtures and fittings. And it's...
Yeah, so it leads in very nicely to, I'm going to put two questions into one here and you can kind of unpack this. So yeah, the ego and the bravado and this kind of illusion of wanting others to see them as they believe that they're trying to get the other people to see them as, if you get what I'm saying, that classic ego game of, it's quite immature in a lot of ways, but most humans, myself included, we all fall into it in some way, in some guys. But do you think that leads to people taking other chances, as you say? Because generally the difference between organics and minerals, I would say, is quantity. I would say the quality that I've seen of organic growers in terms of the expression of the smells and flavors is fucking phenomenal. But the amount that you'll get, and you'll see mineral growers will come in and go, oh, look how piddly these are, look at this. But then when they get the end product, they're like, fuck. But it's a different thing. So do you think then it leads people to want to have bigger numbers, and then they might put PGRs, there might be an organic grower and then put in a load of fucking, I don't know, PK or something else or something on top and then not telling you, like, do you think it leads to that behavior and also people impoverishing themselves to buy like Cali packs or that, like you said, the latest thing? And no, I want this light, so it's got this logo on, so when it's on my Instagram picture, I can tag that company. That kind of mentality.
Back in like 2018, 2017, 2018, when the tins were absolutely flooding everywhere. And it was like, obviously I say I'm off a broke little council estate, but it baffles me how all the kids are getting about in Montclair's and that, and like Canada Goose coats and shit. But there was kids that was buying 3-4 tins a week at £110 for 3.5 grams. And you just think that, like you say, that is you're gonna go broke. If not you, your mummy's gonna go broke. I get it all the time when I'm at these, like, we'll do an open day and I'll get people walk past, the big I am. Don't use that because we're the cheap, shitty one. We're not part of the cool kid club. Do you get what I mean? We've been exclusive for so long, not many have heard of us. And they'll say, oh, I'm with such a big boy. Here's what it is. You'll never get me off it. I'm an old school grower. They always tell me, if you're not an old school grower, if you was an old school grower, big white beard, you're going with Ionic. That's the original, what everyone grew with back in the day. You're growing with this one because you got put on it by the person who taught you how to grow. And now you're playing the big I am because I stick with that one even after a few price rises. And every time when you ask them what boost they're using in private on their own, they'll turn around and say, oh, well, I use that Sumo because it's half the price, half the dose. And like, I had one of the big growers who's won cannabis cups and stuff like that. And he said, oh, we need to chat one time because I've never heard like about your range. I want to go over the range and do a bit of training with him as I do. And then I seen him at the next event and he's turned around and said, oh, all my mates use it, but they just didn't tell me because like we're a cheap brand. We've not changed our price in 11 years. So then I get other reps saying, oh, well, you must have been dear back in the day then, which is what it is. But we've not changed them in 11 years. So now we're a nice, cheap brand. And people don't like cheap brands, do they? And like I say,
we live in a luxury economy, isn't it? So it's the reason those kids were buying those tuna tins were not because the weed was good. Most of that was sealed in the estate. It was to then put on Instagram or Snapchat, look at me, and it was always opening, if you noticed. Yeah. Because people used to go, no, like, you've just put that in that tin. So people were like, no, the video then became about opening the can. That's all you're paying. You're paying 100 quid.
You've got 10-year-olds doing on YouTube.
100%. So it's all become about the facade of these things. So like, I don't front weed. Like, I don't judge cups, and I'm not involved in any of those. There's a lot of that's all ego games to me. No offense to anybody. Love yous, and you're all lovely to me in private. But when you all get together and it's a big game of fucking pissing contest, my brain, I don't like it. I'm not going to give it the big I am because I don't think I am. Do you know what I mean? If you want to sit and nerdily quietly talk about the thing, fuck yeah. But if you want to be like, no, but mine's better and mine and yeah, yours +2. Yeah, mine was a foot bigger. Yeah, mine was wider. Yeah, mine. Do you know what I mean? That the people that they can never give you, and I'm not saying to like that I'm seeking validation from them, but I want to go, I've done this, and they go, oh, cool. And then they show me I think, and I go, oh, cool. And then we can both
give and take
learn together. But it just feels this thing of like, oh, well, as you said before, that kid in the shop going, 10-10, bro, it's fire. And just absolute fire. But if it's fire, why are you in here asking for fucking help? It bothers me. Ego bothers me in all facades of life. It's with humility.
They'll have too much ego to measure the room.
Not even that, they won't want to, because they'll know that if there's something wrong there, it's their fault, so their ego has to deal with it. So it's the breakdown in the consciousness, whereas you learn in humility. When somebody goes, you're wrong, you should be able to have and go, okay, how? Sorry, can you explain? Do you know what I mean? And listen to the other person.
I've said it to Callie when I first started, and like I kept, obviously we're coming in meetings like, oh, we're hearing good things, it's all good, and like, can you tell me when you hear a complaint? Yeah, I like when you hear good things and all that. Everyone does. It's mint, but it's blowing smoke up my ass as well. It's like I want to hear where I'm bad, and I can adjust and change with that. It's like you say, you learn from your mistakes, isn't it?
It's the negative where we grow. It's pressure that makes diamonds.